we're going to move it on to pro football because there's so much shit going on in the pro football world that George and I are just like, holy fucking eyes are rolling around in my head like a broken slot machine and shit. And, I mean, we can go over the scores, and we will, but, I mean, there's just so much other shit going on. I mean, coaches, health conditions, fucking all this bullshit going on with Incognito, Pounce.
Well, here's the one thing I would just like to address real quick.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure maybe this time last year I was a little high on the number 1 pick.
Yes.
I'm going to go out there, and I'm just going to throw a stat out there. Call me crazy. This is not even his full second year in the league. He's had 7 fourth-quarter comebacks and 10 game-winning drives. Yeah.
Andrew Luck's he's the business. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's not fucking around, dude.
And basically, he's got as many pass yards, second to Kurt Warner, when Kurt Warner was like a man when he came into the league.
Yeah, he was 37.
He was, and he was part of that offense that was just like the greatest show on earth. I mean, they were just, was that what it was called? They were
greatest show on turf.
On turf, the greatest show on turf, and they were just fucking airing it out and stuff like that. And I mean, what Andrew Luck is doing is. Everybody, you got to keep watching it, man, because it's crazy. It's slowly building up, and then you see why these scouts are so fucking good. Yeah,
people are sitting there saying Andrew Luck can't do anything because Reggie Wayne's out. Let me tell you right now, he's pulling some Peyton Manning type Indianapolis Colts. He's like, whatever. He's like, just put someone out there. I'm going to throw the ball. You're going to catch it. That's literally Andrew Luck's mentality right now.
They were down on Houston. Houston, I just don't know. It's like they took their foot off the fucking gas, man, and they should have just kept it.
You want to know who I think would be? I mean, I know all the Houston fans are happy with the guy they put in and played well, but do you know who I think would look good in a Houston uniform and play well for them? Nick Foles.
Yeah, he could.
Because I don't think he's going to stay in Philadelphia. I really don't.
No, I mean, now let's just roll over to that. Everybody, Nick Foles, obviously, he tied the NFL record through 7 touchdown passes against the Raiders. I don't really give a fuck who you throw 7 touchdown passes against. That shit's crazy. I
that's
don't care.
A lot.
It's crazy because you didn't see Peyton Manning throwing 7 touchdowns.
Oh, no. Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, all you NFL fans, I want you to bear with me. I want you guys to think about this for a second. I was having a conversation with somebody over on Facebook who shall remain nameless, Ramon, about a quarterback and wide receiver combo, Ramon. And this is the person's who's again going to rename nameless, Ramon. His thinking, his thought idea. Now, mind you, he's a Detroit fan, Ramon.
Yeah.
If my quarterback throws the ball hard or makes strong throws, even if they're to double or triple coverage, as long as my receiver catches it, I'm okay with it. Even the person who's going to remain nameless, Ramon, decided to roll back the clock and say, we did this in the beginning with Scott Mitchell and Herman Moore. And I sat there and I talked to Kevin about the person who should remain nameless, Ramon, and said, that is like me sitting there and saying Dante Culpepper was an elite quarterback because he threw the ball down the field and Randy Moss bailed his ass out. Like, if you can't look at what Matt Stafford does and realize that at some point he closes his eyes and throws it to this place that he hopes Calvin will go get it, that's literally what he does.
Let me tell you something, and you couldn't have made a better comparison, George, when you said Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss, because let me tell you something. Randy Moss was basically putting his hand up like, hey, just throw it up, and Randy Moss was making these incredible catches, and Dante Culpepper had a strong arm, and he just threw it up in the air, but Randy Moss is who made Dante Culpepper, and when he no longer had Randy Moss, he faded away. And you know what? Everybody was saying those things. Oh, Dante Culpepper's brilliant. He came from Central Florida. He's awesome. Now, I'm not saying that Matt Stafford is not a better quarterback than Dante Culpepper, because I think he is. But to me, an elite quarterback is a future Hall of Famer. And if you take
Matt Stafford is not that right now.
Not right now, no. And that fact remains to be seen. Maybe he will be. But I'm going to tell you what, when they did sports science with Calvin Johnson, I might have this wrong, but I think they said they put him, that when they did it, you could put Calvin Johnson in a 10-by-10 garage, and because of his height, the length of his arms, and his leaping ability, you can throw a football in a 10-by-10 garage, and he can catch it anywhere in that fucking garage.
That's a huge weapon.
That is a huge weapon. It's huge. You saw how he snatches balls out of the air. There was not one person going, that was a great pass. They were all saying, look at that catch. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? Now, when you see elite quarterbacks, George, they're like this. How the hell did he get that ball in there? You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And
for you people who can't grasp the real NFL shit, when you were playing Tecmo Bowl and Joe Montana was on good and Jerry Rice was on excellent, you knew you were going to throw it to Jerry Rice anyway, even if he was double covered. What Matt Stafford is doing right now is hitting the X button when he should be hitting the Y button. Because if he's double or even triple covered, that means someone else underneath is open or has single coverage or there's a mismatch somewhere. That's what elite quarterbacks do.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's just, and I'll take, you look at somebody like Jerry Rice who could run a pattern, but you looked at like Montana, how accurate they were, how they did, even Favre, He was accurate. I mean, and you see that with Manning and Brady and stuff like this. I mean, those guys, I just would have to think right now at this point in time in Matt Stafford's career, if you took all of a sudden next year and you said, okay, you don't have Calvin Johnson, you don't have, who's the guy that just got hurt, who broke his arm with fucking trying to save the pizza's life? Burleson, and you don't have your whole receiving core, and all of a sudden you put a whole new receiving core in with Matt Stafford, then what would his numbers be? You know what I mean?
Doo-doo. Look what he did the 1 year without Calvin Johnson.
Right, and that's the thing you have to look at, because this is the kind of situations that Tom Brady dealt with this year. We saw that Gronk came back this week, and we saw the numbers he put up and how different it is. Now all of a sudden everybody's going, shit, man, the Patriots might go to the Super Bowl, and you know what? I gotta agree with them. They look fucking good. You see what Manning has done in Denver with a bunch of people he never played with the new offensive coordinator, new scheme, and everything. You got to look, when you talk about an elite quarterback, you got to look at all those intangibles and say, okay, you know what? This is what makes a quarterback fucking good. How they can adapt. And how they can make their players better. I do not think Matt Stafford is making Calvin Johnson better. Calvin Johnson is making Matt Stafford better.
Yeah, because he can close his eyes and throw the ball up.
Right.
But now, again, Ramon, I mean, the guy we're not talking about, keep your blinders on, keep being a Detroit fan, keep being happy that your teams finally should, let me rephrase that, maybe make it to the playoffs, because they still have a tough road ahead of them.
Now, I will come to his defense. The Barry Sanders theory he had on that board, that's true. Because that's the example of a player that worked for everything he had.
Dude, a blind squirrel even finds a nut.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's great. Is there any more other things that you like? Like crazy analogies? More animal analogies?
His football. This is the reason fans drive me nuts. Because he can't take his blinders off and see that his quarterback is just fucking winging it and praying. But anyway, let's talk about the Eagles, because they look good.
The Eagles look good. I mean, they did. They seemed like they were in sync. It was
on
Nick
both sides
Foles.
of the ball for once, and here's the thing I found absolutely hilarious. I was listening to something driving home, and they were saying, "Yeah, the Eagles came to play from Jump Street, yada yada." Do you know how many yards the Eagles gave up?
How many?
450 plus.
Oh, did they give up that many yards? See, I wasn't into it.
The Raiders had more yards from scrimmage than the Eagles did.
Right. Wow, they gave up that many yards?
Yeah, dude, their defense is rotten.
Well, how the fuck did the Raiders only put up 20? They just weren't.
Turnovers.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, what the thing is I will say this about Philly. Philly's offense looked in sync. The best they looked in sync all year. Nick Foles.
Bye.
You said what?
You said in sync, and this song jumped into my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, son.
You're on a roll, man. But they did, and if that continues, then that's great. It's going to be great for Nick Foles. It's going to be great for Philadelphia Eagles and Philadelphia Eagles fans. We'll see. That still remains. So everybody out there who's a Philadelphia fan, I know George doesn't have his blinders on and is comparing Nick Foles to Manning. Stop drinking the fucking Kool-Aid, okay?
Nah, you'll never hear that out of my mouth.
The Seahawks managed to fucking claw one out against the Bucs, but I tell you what.
And I'm going to tell you that's why I think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. When you win games like that and you find a way to win, they're going to have to do that, especially late in the season.
Yeah, I just think that I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to play the devil's advocate, and I think that's why they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. I think right now they're just struggling on offense, and when they play the elite teams in the NFC as the season unfolds, I think that's going to hurt them. Not being able to put points on the board and stuff like that. And they came up against a team, but they came back on a team that has won 0 games.
Right. And speaking of teams that put it on them or put a hurting on people, what did the Jets do to the Saints?
That's another thing that's surprising.
Call.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I just think that, this is the thing. This is the one thing I might have to retract my statement. If the Seahawks can go, because whoever wins the NFC West is in a good position, probably because they'll have the home field advantage. And if it's the Seahawks, that helps them out a lot. We know that Breeze has a problem playing on natural turf. That's a problem. Now, the other thing is whoever's second in the NFC West, they're going to be in the 5 spot. So it could be San Francisco. Now, I think if the Seahawks, if for some reason or another, the Seahawks play the 49ers the second time and the 49ers beat them, okay, and then they end up going and the 49ers win that division, then I think the Seahawks are done. They're not going to make it to the fucking Super Bowl. I just think the 49ers are starting to play better, and they got some players coming back, and so they're going to look better. But you're right. I mean, it's hard to beat Seattle in Seattle. It is. And
the Giants looked really good this week.
Excuse me?
I said the Giants. They looked really good this week.
Yeah, because they had a bye.
Exactly. It's the first week, and how long since the NFC? Every team in the NFC East has won.
Yeah, it's been forever.
Right.
I mean,
the Giants look good. Dallas finally did. Dallas is. I would hate to be a Dallas fan right now.
Yeah,
it's got to be so painful being a Dallas fan, because one week you look like world beaters, and then you have a game like this where you won and it shouldn't have been close. They are a mess of a football team, dude.
They are, and you know what's so funny? It's like Romo one week is heroic. Like this week he did shit that he won the game for them. You know what I mean? Because on defense, they have no pass rush right now. They're struggling. They're giving up points, and Romo finds a way. Even though he threw that late interception in the fourth quarter, he still rallied and let them win the game. But
you mean Tony Romo pulled a Tony Romo?
Tony Romo pulled a Tony Romo, and then he ended up being a hero, But, yeah, Dallas has their issues, man. The Redskins, they beat the Chargers, but they had the game locked up, and then they let the Chargers back in the fucking game. The one thing that looked decent about the Redskins is actually they D'd up for once, and that's what saved the game. Their defense, and their offense is starting to look a little bit more in sync, but, at 3-5, who knows what.
That was one of the few times I'd actually cheer for the Redskins, so I'm glad your boys won.
Yes, they won. Now,
Denver's on a bye this week.
Denver's on a bye this. Are they on a bye this week?
I think they're on a bye, unless they're playing. Who's playing tonight?
The Bears and the Packers, I think. Yeah, the Bears and the Packers. Playing tonight. Now, this is the thing. Jason Campbell looks pretty good in the Cleveland Browns uniform.
Yes, he does, but he has a history of doing that.
Yeah. I mean, but I tell you what,
he's terrible. He's terrible as a week 1 starter. If he has to start for your team week 1, he will not put together a complete season. If you can bring him in around week 6, for some reason he's fine then. He's like, okay, cool, I remember how to do this.
It's just funny though, man, because I mean, look at the AFC North. Cincinnati's sitting at 6-3. Then you got Cleveland at 4-5 in second. 4-5. In second, in Baltimore 3-5, and in Pittsburgh at 2-6. Now, arguably, everybody's saying the NFC East. I'm going to tell you what, the AFC North is close, because the NFC East is now 5-4, 4-5, 3-5, and 2-6.
Well, so did anyone think Cleveland would do what they did after unloading Trent Richardson? I mean, Trent Richardson's rush for horrible yardage in Indianapolis. Maybe he's not as good as they all thought.
Well, I think he's just there to kind of do what the Redskins do with Morris and Halou. One's there just to beat him. He's such a big physical running back that he just wears your fucking defense down. And then they bring in Wichamajig, who used to play with the Giants. The other back. You guys know who the fuck his name is. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to have a two-headed monster. One is a big physical back that tires the defense down. And once you get later on in the game, then they can kind of just grind it out, 3, 4, 5 yard gains, tear up the fucking clock. And, I mean, Indianapolis has something going on there, man. I mean, with Andrew Luck and the additions they have, and Pagano's obviously a good coach, they're making a name for themselves, dude. What about
they're doing it with defense, and you're talking about Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yeah, Ahmad Bradshaw.
Trent Richardson's run for 248 yards this season, and Brown has rushed for 244. It looks like they might be saving Bradshaw. Andrew Luck's rushed for $180. Andrew Luck has run for 183 yards this season.
100. Andrew Luck has more rushing touchdowns than RG3 and Russell. I was trying to say
Westbrook.
Russell.
Yeah, I was going to say Westbrook. Jesus.
Russell Wilson.
Wilson.
So, yeah, he's big and fast. He's great. And he doesn't get fucking rattled. He's just like, that guy's going to be great. Now,
the biggest news, I think what Kevin and I would love to sit here and talk to you about for another 15 or 20 minutes would be the Incognito story. Yeah. But I think it would be smart of us, especially the way we do this, to wait.
What?
Hello?
Yeah,
I said I was saying
my computer something popped up. You're like,
Kevin just got a porn pop up.
Yeah, I just got a porn. But anyway, so what were you saying?
That's what happened. I was saying I think you and I would love to sit here for another 10 or 15 minutes and talk about the Incognito story. Yeah. But me personally, I'd rather hold off and wait till we get all the facts, and then we can actually discuss what's really going on, because there's a lot of he said, she said, Incognito's supposedly Incognito's father's on message boards just ripping this kid Martin to shreds, and it's a really dicey situation, and me personally, I don't feel comfortable until I know more about it.
Right. At this point, and I agree with you, George. At this point in time, we could say everybody's going to take, this Incognito guy. It's obviously, I'm a Nebraska fan. I saw him when Frank Solich had him, and he said, you got to go. And then Callahan came along and said, yeah, this guy's good. You got to go. Then he went to Oregon. You got to go. So he's had his issues. But I know he's bullying and some of the racial stuff he said. We know those are facts because we know that is, and that's thing. But there's also another side to the story. Like, I'm like going, what is this player who's doing this? And not that I don't feel bad for him. I'm being insensitive or something like this. It's like, I've never heard of another player saying another player is bullying them. And I just haven't. Maybe it has been out there before, but I just find that bizarre. And George and I were taking the road, like if we were coaches, right? And I'm like, George, if you and I were coaches and something like this was happening, I wouldn't even be thinking about that shit. I'd be like, let those fucking guys settle that shit off. They're fucking with each other or whatever. Deal with it. You know what I'm saying? We got to worry about beating the Patriots next week. So there's got to be more to this. How long it went on, what happened. I mean, obviously, George, you told me there was something where the guy strong-armed the motherfucker for like $15,000 or something like that.
Well, yeah, there was a planned trip to Vegas, and the bullied player didn't want to go, and Incognito said, you're going to pay me anyway, and he paid. Right. And my thing is I can understand trying to handle it like a man, but if you've been bullied your whole life, or if you've even, there's rumors about Martin having like mental issues, issues coming into this, and it seems like Incognito was voted the dirtiest player in 2009 and reveled in it. Said, you guys just don't play with the intensity that I do. And the guy was cut by St. Louis because he picked up 2 personal fouls in one play that negated a win for them. All signs right now are not pointing in Incognito's favor. And then what I find absolutely hilarious is yesterday Incognito takes to Twitter and tries to bully the media and Adam Schefter into not reporting. And I'm like, dude, these tweets aren't even coming, you're not helping yourself. The best thing Incognito can do is just keep his mouth closed. If he thinks he's innocent and there's nothing wrong, keep your mouth shut.
He should just put it in neutral and shut the fuck up. I mean, what he's doing is just you saying that, because I haven't heard all the facts or whatever. It's making me think, okay, here's a guy that was probably vulnerable. Maybe he had some issues, and stuff. And it looks like Incognito is preying on that. It's like, okay, this guy's vulnerable. He's doing this. I'm going to take advantage of it. And that's probably Incognito's personality. At least it seems that way from his past history. And this guy's the kind of guy, not like a typical NFL player, that would get back in Incognito's feet, back in the Incognito's face and be like, fuck you, motherfucker. You ain't coming at me like that. And Incognito knows that, so he's just rolling with it, and it's snowballing.
And what you keep hearing is rookie hazing. This is this guy's second year in the league. Yeah. There should be a time where you back off. And you got to see Herm Edwards and Ditka chime in, and they said this wouldn't happen in their locker room. And you know what? I believe them. Herm Edwards was definitely a coach. And, this guy in Miami, it's his second year. And maybe wherever he came from, they just let things like this ride. But, in today's day and age where bullying is such a huge thing, if you're a head coach or you're supposed to be the adult and the authority figure, you should probably step in. And Incognito being 31 years old, when do you stop being a bully? Like,
Yeah.
when do you stop acting like a jerk off? I mean, at some point you have to grow up. But I mean, I guess when you're spoiled your whole life and told how great you are your whole life, you never really have to face reality.
It just goes to your fucking head. You feel like you've got this God complex, you know?
So
but anyway,
I think when more things come out, I think Kevin and I will probably address this further down the road when we have more details. Because right now a lot of it's he said, she said, hearsay, so-and-so is reporting this, but this, that, and the other. And it's just, it's a black eye the NFL does not need right now.
Yeah, it doesn't, because there's just too much drama in the NFL. But anyway, on that note, go ahead.
Ndamukong Suh is the happiest player in the NFL today.
Oh, he is without a doubt the happiest player because all the shit got off of him.
He looks like an angel right now. Between Aaron Hernandez and this guy, I'd show up to the meetings and be like, "You wanna find me for what?
Yeah.
Why don't you go look at these guys?"
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely making him look. It's taking the focus off of him, and believe me, the NFL has a lot of other fucked up things to focus on right now. Guys, comments below, thoughts about the whole incognito bullshit and everything else that we talked about. Don't be afraid to leave a comment, and like, not any of these motherfuckers are afraid anyway. They don't give a fuck. They just say anything. Anyway, we're fucking adios deuces.